I released an album recently called Forget Me Nots and Camellias. The link for that is in the description. The link for that is in the description. Stars for that 5-star rating. Yeah. Last night I watched a Rapunzel ASMR video. It was like an old one. Well, old, relatively speaking, it was 6 months ago. That's ancient in YouTube years and YouTube time. Was talking about something, just talking about, you know, the challenges of being a YouTuber and authenticity as it pertains to your content and performance. The challenges of performing well in a very competitive space where a lot of people are making ASMR, you know. This was 6 months ago. It's only gotten more competitive since then. So, you know, if you're one of these people, these YouTubers, especially in this ASMR space, who gets a lot of views with every video, you should be proud of yourself. If you're not taking shortcuts, you should be proud of yourself if you're not taking shortcuts, because it's not easy. There's a lot of people competing for views and attention. Because we're sharing an audience at the end of the day, you know. We're sharing an audience, and it's actually very impressive when you see someone averaging 20,000 views, 50,000 views. Some people average hundreds and thousands of views with every video they upload. It's genuinely impressive. If you're doing it the authentic way, you're not relying on gimmicks or scandalous behavior. Rapunzel ASMR, it's also ASMR Fix. It's weird. It's actually weird when I think about it. He has a second channel, ASMR Fixie, and there's Rapunzel ASMR. So it's like it's almost like two separate people, but it's the same person. So it's like, how do you refer to the individual? It's actually strange. But anyway, I'll go with Fixie, ASMR Fixie, just because that's the main channel I watch. I don't watch Rapunzel ASMR as much because it's slower. I'm not really into slow ASMR, but every now and then you find videos that you like that are a bit slow. she's talking about the rat race and how challenging it can be. You know, sometimes you'll see channels doing very, very well. You're like, wow, they're doing very well. What can I do to get to that level? And I'm sure a lot of YouTubers can relate to this. When one video does really well, so I've got 2 videos that have over 100,000 views, right? Each. I've got one that's got 111,000 views or something, and one that's got 108,000 views. And you're like, I want to replicate that, so what can I do to keep that going? So, you know, you kind of spam that same sort of content, and for a while I was doing that, you know, the whole, let me show you, the toilet roll trigger, this, just doing a whole bunch of this. I'm sure it's nice in moderation. But then, you know, when you keep doing it over and over again, things kind of get stale. Things get a bit stale, and you kind of box yourself in, because you can end up in a situation where maybe that's what becomes expected of you and only that, and you're not really allowed to deviate from it, otherwise your viewership will tank. Or people get bored and leave. In my case, I think I just kind of stagnated. I was getting the same amount of views generally, but it was nowhere near the performance of those other videos I mentioned. I did like 100,000, right? It wasn't anywhere near that, but you know, like 1,000 views, generally around that range. But at some point, I started noticing, okay, things are starting to decline. Now it's going to like 900 views, and then some may get 600 views, and it was like, okay, what do I do? Because even this is not working anymore. So it becomes frustrating, right? And you get caught up in this mentality of chasing views constantly, which is not good. And you know, you're less likely to enjoy the process if you're just focused on what's going to get you views. For some channels it works out, and they can strike a balance between repetition and still enjoying what they like, if it makes sense for the sort of content they're making. But for a channel like mine, that's really centered around it's built around my personality and these rambles. And this is another thing, a lot of people that watch my videos, I think they're in the minority, I'm not sure. This is what people that might not understand when they watch my channel. Like, this channel is about me. Yes, it's an ASMR channel, but it's also an outlet for me to express myself. So some people sometimes get frustrated with the rambles and all this sort of stuff, but it's like, it's because you're not understanding what's going on here. It's a certain type of content, it's a genre. Some people like it, I like it. I don't really like watching no talking ASMR. It's nice, like when you're working or something like that. But sometimes, for me, I like to hear people's voices, especially when they have something interesting to say. I want to hear. I really enjoyed that ASMR, the Rapunzel ASMR video yesterday. It was nice. It was really, really informative. It wasn't really wasn't really ASMR though. It was kind of soft spoken. She was just talking. She wasn't really doing triggers. But the subject matter was actually very interesting. I feel like I'm serving a niche. I feel like I'm serving a niche because I haven't found too many channels that like discuss very interesting topics while doing ASMR. Topics I'm interested in at least. And I've gotten feedback from some of y'all that you like my channel because I'm very interested in discussions about things. And it's a certain brand of ASMR. I'm not necessarily going to find this elsewhere. Because even with channels that do ramble, usually rambling about something that happened during their day, and it's, you know, it's like it's this normal stuff that people do day to day. Oh, I went to see my friends, and like, you know, some girls might be talking about the makeup. Like there's this one girl I talk about, like she always, there's this one girl I watch from time to time, and a lot of her content and a lot of her rambles will be like her makeup haul, the skincare products she's using. It's like it's nice because it's relaxing, but in and of itself, what she's talking about isn't actually interesting. Not to me, at least. I'm not actually interested in her makeup products. But it's nice because you can tell that she's actually interested in it, what she's talking about, that she's actually enjoying talking about that. And combined with the triggers, it creates this kind of relaxing vibe. I wouldn't normally watch a girl talk about her, you know, face cream and whatnot, but I've actually talked about the face cream I use enough, but I wouldn't normally listen to that. But because it's ASMR, it's just the vibe is nice. But yeah, I am looking for more content that are like mine, where, you know, someone's discussing some very interesting topic that, you know, you can get a bit intellectual with it, or not to say it doesn't exist at all. I have seen a couple videos here and there. For example, the other day I watched someone who was talking about games, a topic related to games. He was talking about, I should have shared his video on my community tab. He was talking about minimaps in video games, and how he thinks minimaps are not a good thing. It was actually a very interesting topic, and I'd never really heard anyone talk about it, so it was nice to learn and hear his perspective on that. So yeah, you know, I like talking in ASMR. Some people don't, but that's your preference. I don't think everyone has to succumb to that. I don't think everyone has to follow suit, and then the whole ASMR community, space, whatever you want to call it, it starts making no talking ASMR. It's like, no, like, there's people that make the content you like where they don't talk at all, and you can go there and listen to them. But me, I like to talk. I like to talk and have conversations with people in the comments and hear what people have to say. It's nice, man. It's really nice. But yeah, Rapunzel ASMR was just talking about the importance of being yourself and doing what you want to do ultimately. Just because it allows you to be your most creative. It allows you to have the most fun you can have. And yes, you want to have views. You want to make content that is popular, but not at the cost of your passion. Because you'll burn out, and it'll become a terrible chore. And yeah, I've also spoken about that multiple times because I've experienced it. I've experienced it. I'm still experiencing it. You go through cycles of it. Sometimes you're tempted to play that game. So now for me, I'm at a point where I'm trying to figure out what the best strategy is in terms of growing my channel. Right now, I'm fortunate that I'm riding a wave of a few videos that are doing really well right now. So what that does is you're getting a lot of subscribers. I'm getting a lot of subscribers, and but they're coming from certain videos that for now are doing really well. But if those videos stop doing well, the videos I'm releasing right now, they're doing okay. Some are getting 2,000 views, some are getting 3,000 views, 4,000 views. Last week or 2 weeks ago, I'm not sure, I released a video that got 11,000 views. So I'm doing well actually, all things considered. But I'm worried that my more recent videos might not be able to keep up, and then I'll hit a slump again. I've hit slumps, guys. I have moments when I'm riding high, I'm doing really well, I'm earning a lot of money. Then moments where you're kind of like, you're down here. So I want my low moments to still meet the minimum threshold, like still meet a minimum level, which is pretty high. Because I think it'll always be like that, just because it's a very volatile space, content creation space. Things are constantly moving around, and audiences' preferences are changing, and the algorithm is changing. So you're not going to get much consistency, right? And sometimes content creators as a collective experience slumps for whatever reason. So things are constantly changing, right? So you have to be aware of that. But yeah, like I said, even on the low moments, I'd love to have still have a lot of views. But yeah, one thing I like about all this, this stuff, is that I'm actually getting acquainted with some of the people that watch the videos. A few people have reached out, and we chat. That's a blessing, because it's like real people watch the videos, like real flesh and bone humans watch the videos, and I get to talk to some of them, which is nice. I'm approachable. I mean, I'm not trying to have too many people reaching out, but at the same time, I don't mind. I don't have to. Yeah. Anyway, I'm enjoying the conversations I'm having with some of the folks who've reached out. So it's great. It's great. I guess a question I have in my mind, just going back to growing the channel, is like, what do I do with regards to thumbnails and titles? Because now I'm kind of going through this phase where I'm having these very humorous titles, outrageous titles that I feel like draw people's attention. It's also fun to come up with them, because you actually have to be creative to come up with these titles, and so it's a nice little game I play. Like, what can I say that will make people chuckle or just draw their attention? I'm trying to balance like being eye-catching, but also having fun and being authentic. So the question is does the current strategy meet that requirement? I definitely do think it is me. That is how my mind works. That is my sense of humor. And I've had some people comment and say that they clicked the video because of the title. I've had several people say I saw the title and clicked. So that might be a winning strategy. We'll see. The only issue is the thumbnails. I really am not sure when it comes to thumbnails. I'm really not sure what works, what doesn't. Because for some time I thought the toilet roll would guarantee me views, but I've done 2 or 3 videos now with the toilet roll and they tanked. They didn't do that great. And then sometimes I do the whole thing where I'm like and it's like wild. And those have been they yield decent results, but they never hit like this, like the highest highs. Like compared to so 2 of my biggest videos are like the toilet roll. In fact, if you go on my video tab right now and you just check my most popular videos, you'll see the majority of them are with the toilet roll as the thumbnail. But as of late, I've tried it and they haven't been doing all the whole toilet roll thing. So the thumbnail situation is a bit tricky. I think I'm going to maintain the whole like that thing. I think it looks cool. It looks funny sometimes. It looks interesting. So I might keep that. Because sometimes you're just tempted to just like capture an image from the actual video, like essentially like a screenshot almost. You just capture a frame. So like, you see how I'm talking now, I just capture this frame and use that as the thumbnail. Sometimes I'm tempted to just do that, but that's kind of lazy, and people don't really click on those. I've tried that in the past and those videos never do well. They never do well. The idea is that if I just don't put in much effort, then I'll actually start winning and people will notice that he's not trying too hard and they'll actually click on the video. But that has been my experience. My experience is when I do that, the video doesn't do well. So I'm not sure. Some people do that. Some people do that and they do very well. So it's just very confusing. Like, what's the psychology there? Like, well, what's working? Why is that working with people? Certain people, it doesn't work with me. I don't know. But anyway. We'll see. Kendrick Lamar dropped another Drake diss. If you know me, you know I'm a Drake fan. Always have been. Not always have been. 2015 was when I started. I actually started out as a Kendrick fan. People don't know this. I started out as a very big Kendrick fan. I think his album was the first rap album I ever purchased with my own money. The first and only one. I haven't really bought an album since then. To Pimp a Butterfly, the first album I bought, rap album I think it was the first album. No, there was another one that I bought before that, but that was the first rap album I ever bought. First and only. So I was a Kendrick fan, and I would say I've heard 95% of his music. So I actually know more about Kendrick and his music than a lot of these people that claim to be Kendrick fans do. So yeah, he dissed Drizzy again, and I need y'all to understand something. I guess if you ask people who won that whole thing, maybe most will say Kendrick, right? Like, oh yeah, okay, cool. He's riding a high, and he's got a Super Bowl performance coming up. Things are going well for him. The next move should have been to drop a single, a big song that everyone can enjoy, just a good song, and build up hype for an album that he's got coming out. Then he drops the album does well, and that would be a great strategy. And it'll just be one W after another for him if he just did that. Instead, he chose to drop another Drake diss. Either this guy is really stupid or he really hates Drake. Or both. I think it's both. I don't think he's stupid. I think he's a bit stupid, but because the decision is so ill-timed. So there's such a lapse in logic, right? And you also have to understand something else. The biggest song of this guy's career, Kendrick, the biggest song of his career by far is a Drake diss. Drake's name is all over it. It's big because he was dissing Drake. The second biggest song, before this song, That's Not Like Her song, became big, the second biggest song was Humble, which was a Big Sean diss. So we're seeing a pattern here. We're seeing that this man's like biggest records, his first number one was Humble, I believe, right? I don't think Not Like Us was his first number one. It might have been. No, I think Humble was his first number one, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, the point is that his biggest songs are tied to beef and controversy. There always has to be controversy around this guy's music for enthusiasm to really build. Let me not take too much away from him. Obviously, like an album like Good Kid, Mad City did really well. Drake had brought Kendrick on his biggest on his world tour. So this is the biggest tour that Kendrick had ever been in. In fact, there's video footage. You can actually go on my Instagram. If you go on my story, you'll see the video. It's actually in my story right now. So if you check it out right now, you'll see it before it expires from my story. But Kendrick was talking about how he was used to getting shows where it's like 2,000 people in the venue. At best, that's what he was used to. The crowd sizes, which is, it's not bad. But obviously it's nowhere near like what the big dogs were doing, right? So he said Drake brought him on his first world tour, and now he was being exposed to crowds of 15,000 plus people. I'm sure the numbers get even bigger than that, depending on the venue, right? So you can see the numbers skyrocketed. 15,000 people, from 2,000 to 15,000 people. And again, 2,000 is best case scenario for Kendrick at that point. And now he's getting exposed to crowds of like 15,000 people and whatnot. And he was being taken across Europe. So he's being exposed to a global audience. He's getting outside of America. And this is all because of Drake. This was back in 2012. And also Drake put Kendrick on his album in 2011, Take Care, which also helped him because, again, this is 2011, guys. You have to think this is 2011. Not that many people who knew who Kendrick Lamar was at that time. He was very much unknown, except like in small niche circles. We all know rappers that we like, but no one else knows. That was Kendrick in 2011. He was not a household name back then. Let's not pretend otherwise. So Drake put him on his album, and then he brought him on this massive tour. And then directly after that tour, he basically says on that Controls song, or that verse, that he wants to destroy not just Drake, he mentioned other people as well, but basically destroy their careers and be the number one guy and all these sort of things. And I guess Drake wasn't a fan of the tone. He wasn't a fan of the way it was said, because he was like, bro, we were just on tour together. I did this for you, I did that for you. Now you're talking crazy on a song. What's up with that? And then Kendrick didn't like that, and then they got into a whole beef. They got into a serious beef. Not serious, it wasn't that serious. Let me not exaggerate, but it caused a stir in the hip-hop media and the culture. people were very much aware of it, and Kendrick said some things. I think one of the line is, I had to tuck a sensitive rapper back in his pajama clothes or something like that. So it was a while ago. The single for his album Damn was Humble, and before then he got into a beef with Big Sean. He just dissed him with that record, and it became a big record, and it helped promote his album. Mr. Morale, there was not much going on there. Mr. Morale did not do as well as Damn did, not nearly as well. The sales for Mr. Morale were not good compared to his previous albums. Yeah, it was not good. The sales for that album were not good at all, compared to his previous albums at least. It's good compared to other small artists and whatnot. Mr. Morale was just not. It was not it, guys. People were not very enthusiastic about that album. And he had no controversy, really, around that time. He'd been missing for a long time. He disappeared for 4 years, 5 years. And then he popped up and dropped that album. And yeah, people weren't really here for it. They weren't really there for it. And then this time around, I think he might have another album. I don't know. I really don't. I'm starting to doubt he does, because why hasn't he dropped singles? But now he's going back to the old playbook he always does. He wants to generate clout. What does he do? He disses Drake. He disses someone, but Drake is the biggest artist, so he's a cash cow. So he's not dissing him again. We saw what happened in April, May, around that time. Now time has passed. People are like, it's over. We're over this. They've moved on. They might give the dub to Kendrick. Okay, cool. People had moved on. Out of nowhere, this guy just drops a full song, like 5 minutes, dissing Drizzy again. And it's such a weird move to make, because why not drop an actual song that's catchy but substantive, that'll really promote an album if you have an album to promote? Why not do that? Because the issue with dropping this is people are tired, man. They're over it. It's not going to have the same impact as it might have had if it was during the midst of the beef. The beef is over. The crowd is over it, though. They've moved on. So to drop it now, I don't really see anyone talking about it that much. It's not that big of a deal. It was such a wasted opportunity. If he had dropped a song, a good song, I think it would have set the internet on fire, and then it would build more anticipation for his album. Then he drops the album, and the album sells really well. Then he goes missing for 5 years again. Then when he wants to get his clout up again, he disses Drake again, and you rinse and repeat, right? If Drake doesn't engage with you, then you can find someone else to diss. Rinse and repeat the formula. But this was the wrong move. But it goes to show you that I think it's either he's obsessed with Drizzy, which I think he is. I think he's jealous, because Drake is the biggest rapper in the game. He's been that for 15 years. For the past few months, he's been the most streamed rapper in the world. Even in the thick of that beef, Drake was still the most streamed rapper in the world. Kendrick wasn't even in the top 5. So, I think that does get to him. That even with all of that, he couldn't dethrone Drizzy. But anyway, bro, Drake's biggest songs have nothing to do with beef. So if you talk about God's Plan, One Dance, Controller, Hold On, We're Going Home, Drake's biggest songs are just good songs. Even if he does take a few jabs at people here and there, the songs are big because they're just sick songs. There wasn't this stir-up of controversy and whatnot around them. If you want to talk about a sicko mode, you want to talk about Started From the Bottom, you want to talk about What's the other one, man? Big song. He has a lot. Going Bad with Meek Mill. Um, there was another one from Nothing Was the Same. There was Started from the Bottom and the other one. Let me just look at it. I'm forgetting the name of the song. Worst Behavior. Why am I forgetting the name of that song? Worst Behavior. Headlines, obviously one of his biggest songs ever. True Love, one of his biggest songs. Take Care, the song he had with Rihanna. Obviously we got songs from If You're Reading This Is Too Late, like 10 Bands, Energy, Know Yourself. Passion Fruit from More Life. 9 from Views. Hype from Views. Pop Style from Views. Child's Play from Views. Obviously Scorpion had a lot of bangers on there, like Non-Stop, God's Plan, I'm Upset, Mob Ties, Nice for What, which was massive. What was that song? In My Feelings, massive. I could keep going. This guy has the hits. This guy has hits. He has hits, bro. It's unbelievable. I didn't even go through all his albums. Those are just a few albums. I could keep going. But the point is, he doesn't need to mention some other rapper to go #1. He doesn't need to. He doesn't need any of these guys. Why does Kendrick keep doing this? I'm not saying he's not talented. I'm not saying that at all. I think he is talented. I think he's a very good rapper. But I just feel like I don't think he's on the level of a Drizzy. I feel like if he really was, he wouldn't be doing what he's doing right now. I think by now he would have put out great music, great singles, and then been like, guys, album out September or such and such a date, or whatever, right? I think he would have done that by now. I don't think you do this thing of going missing every 5 years. Like going missing for 5 years, or 4 or 5 years stretches of time. I don't think you'd be doing all that. I think you'd be more consistent. Because listen, guys, we live in a very competitive era of music. Everyone and their mama is dropping music every day. So it's not like the 90s where things were coming out very slowly because of limitations of technology. These days people are dropping. So you also have to up the ante. You have to become very, very competitive. You can't play this silly game of like not dropping. It's not a good idea. You can't want to be the best. You can't claim the title of the GOAT and I want the throne, but you're not willing to work for it. You go missing for 4 years, 5 years at a time. It doesn't work that way. And you can claim to be the GOAT and there can be your little fans that agree with you, but ultimately the title of GOAT, right, greatest of all time, implies some sort of objective measure, objective standard. It's not enough for one person to say something, another person to say something. Otherwise, I can claim to be the GOAT, you can claim to be the GOAT, and what do we have to say that you are or you aren't? What are we using to say that no, you can't be the GOAT because what? It can't just be opinion, guys. It has to be something we use to measure. So if the idea is that consensus is what decides who the GOAT is, people must agree. What bigger form of agreement is there than everyone listens to that guy, not nearly as much people listen to the other guy? Hello? That's the biggest evidence of who the actual GOAT is. So we talk about Eminem, we talk about Drake, we talk about Lil Wayne, we talk about even Jay-Z, even though I don't like Jay-Z that much these days. I actually used to be a big Jay-Z fan. FYI, but these days I'm like... But hey, credit where credit is due. His career has been massive. But Kendrick falls behind all those guys in terms of objective measures, in terms of impact. You talk about careers that he has helped establish. Who has Kendrick helped establish? We know he's had a relationship with Baby Keem and he's played a role there. Fair enough. But who else? Honestly, who else, guys? He's pretty much kept it to himself. He's notorious for not giving features out like that. And there are no real big names attached to him in terms of careers he's helped. If you want to talk about Jay-Z and how he started his record label and the co-signs he gave and all these sort of things and his ties to J. Cole and how he helped J. Cole's career, Lil Wayne, all the people he's helped, and the Young Money initiative where he discovered Drake, he discovered Nicki Minaj and Tyga. What? These are okay. Tyga's pretty big, but compared to Nicki Minaj and Drake, Tyga's a pipsqueak. But Tyga's still a big deal though. And then obviously you think about Drizzy and the people he's helped. Oh my gosh, guys, let's talk about the Migos. Let's talk about Travis Scott way back in like 2013, when no one knew who Travis Scott was. No one knew who the hell Travis Scott was. Drake was out here posting videos of himself in his car listening to Travis Scott. This is way back, 2013, guys. Think about that. Drake and Future. This I think Drake also around 2013. Again, Future was coming up, but he wasn't that popular back then. Drake was supporting him. You want to talk about Lil Baby? Drake was involved there. 21 Savage, Drake was involved there. Who else? Block Boy JB wasn't that big of a success, to be honest. He had one song with Drake, and he never really did much beyond that. So, but there are a lot of people that benefited from. Obviously, Kendrick. This is the crazy part. Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar, the person dissing him, he got a stimulus package from Drake. He got a massive career boost from Drizzy. A$AP Rocky was on the same tour with Kendrick. Both of these guys, the biggest tours they'd ever been on, their first world tours with Drake. So when you talk about impact in hip-hop, people that were introduced to massive artists by these other artists, who does Kendrick have under his, that can say like, Kendrick helped me come up, that we know? Drake can point to Kendrick and say he did that for Kendrick. He can point to A$AP Rocky and say he did that for A$AP Rocky. He can point to Travis Scott. He can point to Future. He can point to the Migos. He jumped on the Versace remix for the Migos, and that was the first time a lot of people had ever heard of the Migos. This was back in 2014, I believe. Again, I'm not saying he's responsible for the whole careers. I'm just saying it helped significantly. We can't pretend that if the biggest rapper in the world does a song with you, it doesn't help you. Like, don't do that. Don't lie. So, I'm just saying, we want to talk about GOATs. Obviously, Drake has more number one songs. He has more hits, way more hits than Kendrick. It's not even close. Drake has the same amount of number ones as Michael Jackson. Him and Michael Jackson are tied. He might have passed him, actually. I'm not sure. But at the very least, they're tied. And Drake has the most Billboard hits of any artist ever. Billboard music chart is the biggest chart in music, period. And on that chart, Drake has the most hits of any musician ever, more than the Beatles, more than anyone. And it's not even close. So yeah, you want to compare the hits, you want to compare the number ones, you want to compare the world tours, you want to compare the ticket sales. Drake is number one in all of it. So when we talk about objective measures, not just he said, she said opinions, when we talk about objective measures, in which category is Kendrick winning? Like none. He's not even second place. He's not third. He's not fourth. He's not fifth. In tours, he's second. He has the second highest grossing rap tour of all time. But Drake is first. So in tour, I'll give him tours. But overall, if you talk about overall, Kendrick's not even in the top 5 when you combine all the statistics and career impact. So, like, bro, I don't want to hear it, man. This guy needs to put out real music. He needs to stop with all the dissing and then actually put out songs that people care about. He's been milking Not Like Us, but now that he's seeing that the steam is running out from that, he's trying to come up with some other diss again. Nope, no sir. Not gonna work. It's not gonna work again. But anyway, it's just my opinion. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. 41 minutes, 3 minutes, crazy. Dear Father God, thank you for this individual action. Thank you for making him whole, unique, and guiding our plot rules, peace, prosperity, and purpose. Thank you for blessing this person with wonderful people in our life who love them, take care of them, bring the absolute best out of it. And thank you for maintaining the ones that are there to do the same thing. And thank you for blessing this person with love and marriage and sustaining the love of marriage and making it very, very, very happy. Thank you for blessing this person with a spirit of gratitude so they can give thanks for all the wonderful things in their life. And by giving thanks, they can find peace, contentment, and attract even more blessings. Let your presence be felt in this person's life. So they know that you're God, that you're real, that you love them, and who's going to be there for them. Good health, long life, and happiness over this person and everyone they care about. In my name I pray. In Jesus' name I pray.